What is going on? Gamers Goon here today with your Week 6 NFL predictions. We got 4 teams on bye, so once again, there's only 14 games this week. So that's just a little nugget of information there for you. But we do have some good games here this week. Last week, we didn't do too hot. We didn't do too hot with our predictions. We were only 43 for 30 and 35 so far this season with 55% accuracy. Not the best. I'm sorry. I got to be better this week. And we're going to start it off with Thursday Night Football. A decent little game. Now, this game, believe it or not, the 49ers are 76% favored on Yahoo against the Seahawks. Now, the Seahawks, I understand. They came off a week where they lost to the Giants. But you look at the 49ers, they haven't been particularly impressive either. They blew their game against the Cardinals. They lost to a Rams team that was depleted. And they lost to the Vikings, who the Vikings have proven to be fairly solid. Seahawks, they had a bad week against the Giants. That's inexcusable. There are 2 losses in a row. Lions, Giants. None of their wins coming against great teams either. Broncos, Patriots, Dolphins, all teams you probably expect the Seahawks to beat. So, I mean, both these teams haven't shown great signs, if you ask me. Last week, we finally saw Brandon Ayuk start to become a factor for the 49ers. Let's see how many yards he ended up with. Ayuk ended up with 147 yards last week. Big game for him. Seattle, Kenneth Walker involved in everything. Seems as if he is going to be a force to be reckoned with when it comes to Seattle. It should be a decent little Thursday night game. Shouldn't be a blowout. Shouldn't be any of what we've seen on these primetime games. These primetime games, man, they've been terrible this season. They've been terrible. Hopefully, though, the 49ers Seahawks can get some things figured out. But ultimately, I'm going to go with a little bit of a bold prediction. I'm going to have the Seahawks win. I am in the minority when it comes to this, but I am going to have the Seahawks win. I have 1 confidence point on them. Jacksonville going to Chicago. Well, actually, they're not going to Chicago. They're going to London. 8:30 a.m. kickoff, bright and early. Make sure you got your fantasy football lineup set. I know I will have to. I'm also going to have to be up early because this is my team, right? I'm going to have to be up early because this is my team, the Bears. Caleb Williams, last week looked phenomenal. Great game. Granted, it was against Carolina, but that was what we've been waiting for. Caleb Williams has shown spurts. He seemed to get better with each and every game. First game was not that great. The Texans game was a complete disaster for the whole offense, the offensive line, Caleb, everybody. And then ever since that Texans game, week 3, we got better. Week 4, we got better from week 3. Week 5, we got better from week 4. Now, that's the kind of improvement you want to see with these rookie QBs. Caleb Williams done a phenomenal job. Has another very friendly matchup here against the Jaguars. The Jaguars are not a team you expect to really be locked down defensively. You don't really expect them to put up much resistance in the pass game because you expect Caleb to throw the ball 20, 30 times. I think this is another game where you're looking at a Caleb Williams 300-yard performance. You're looking at a DJ Moore big game potentially. Maybe a Keenan Allen big game. We haven't got one of those yet. Maybe Rome Odunze. It's been a few weeks since he had his big game. So, the Bears' offensive weapons are starting to click. You got DeAndre Swift, who's starting to click. He's starting to figure it out. The first few weeks weren't very good, and then the last 2 weeks from Swift have been phenomenal. Roschon Johnson has been very good now that he is involved in the offense. Cole Kmet getting involved. The defense looks the part of a playoff caliber, championship caliber defense. The Jaguars, on the other hand, they have not been great. Now, the Jaguars, I believe, actually are coming off of a victory. They beat the Colts. The Colts beat us. So, maybe you can say the Jaguars got an advantage on us. I don't think they do. We pretty much know I don't think our run defense is going to be that bad. Tank Bigsby should not do what he did last week. I don't think ETN is going to do what he's capable of. Now, I think Trevor Lawrence can stretch you out a little bit if he starts to attack Tyreek Stevenson. He starts to utilize the tight ends. He starts to pass out a little bit. I think there is potential there, but I don't think that this Jaguars team can put up 20 points, and I do think that our Bears team, and this is crazy to say, I think they can put up 20 points against the Jaguars. I'm not very confident usually in the Bears putting up 20-plus points, but I think the Bears can do it against the Jaguars. I'm riding with the Bears. I got 6 confidence points on them. Shout out to Caleb Williams. Looking great. Doing great these last few weeks. It's been fun to watch. Rome Odunze, let's see him get involved this week. DJ Moore, big breakout game last week after some frustration through the beginning of the season. My Chicago Bears, shout out to all of them. They have been doing great. They look great right now. Packers-Cardinals. Cardinals traveling to Green Bay. I got 8 confidence points on the Packers. I know the Cardinals just came off that San Francisco win, but the Packers are seemingly, to me, just one of those teams that is fairly consistent. They barely beat the Rams. They seem to just get enough done usually. The Cardinals, not a team that particularly strikes me as a team that should beat the Packers. And I think the Packers are pretty good at holding off teams like that they, on paper, are better than, but it's going to be a close game. I'm giving the Packers an 8-point confidence there. 87% of people agree with me on that one, by the way. A lot of these, like the Bears, 84%. I mean, a lot of these, a lot of people think are going to go one way or the other. Colts versus Tennessee, traveling to Tennessee. We might have Anthony Richardson back this game. Maybe. We might have Jonathan Taylor back this game. Maybe. I'm not really sure what the Colts are going to look like. Flacco did a decent job last week. Titans, they're terrible. There's no way to cut it. 68% of people are taking the Colts. I'll be joining them. I got 3 confidence points on it. Not very high on the Colts, but very, very low on the Titans. As long as Will Levis is their quarterback, I don't see the Titans being that good. And I know Anthony Richardson hasn't been great this season, but he is better than Will Levis. Will Levis has been a disaster so far this year. I think it will continue to be that way. Watch out for the typical Sunday meme of Will Levis. Houston travels to New England. Houston, you're going to be traveling there with Nico Collins on the IR. Just got placed on there about an hour ago. Nico Collins on the IR, so you expect Tank Dell to have a increased performance. You expect Stephon Diggs to get a bigger role potentially, or maybe those guys still have the same role. And Xavier Hutchinson, I believe, is the name out of Iowa State, I believe, the receiver that stepped up last week. Maybe he's the guy. And I think they're still waiting on Joe Mixon to come back. I think he's listed as questionable for this week, so maybe that'll be an interesting situation to monitor. The Texans are a little banged up, but the Patriots, first game with Drake May. The Patriots' pass blocking is not good. First start for Drake May going up against a Texans team that is willing to send a lot of blitz packages. We saw it in week 2 against Chicago. Against these rookie QBs, Drake May is going to be, they're going to push Drake May, and I think the Texans win this one pretty easily. I think they're going to get after him. I think they're going to make some, or cause him to make some mistakes, and the Texans should be fine without Nico Collins this week. I got 10 confidence points on the Texans to get the job done. Tampa Bay versus New Orleans. Derek Carr just went down. He'll be out a few weeks, at least, is what I'm hearing, with an oblique injury. It sounds like Spencer Rattler will be stepping up, even though Jake Haener was the backup to Derek Carr. Now, I don't know why the backup would not be the one stepping up, but it sounds like they are pretty high on Spencer Rattler and what the ceiling could be with him. Now, once again, same situation as Drake May. You're stepping in as a rookie, a new situation. You haven't taken many NFL snaps outside of the preseason. Drake May took some in like a blowout game. But Rattler hasn't taken any other than preseason. I don't even really know what he did in the preseason, to be honest with you. Really, all you're going to do here is you're going to try to keep the game simple for Rattler. You're going to try to get the dump-offs to Kamara. You might take a deep shot or two to Rashid Shaheed. There should not. I would not invest much in any Saints offensive player the next few weeks. Olave, I would not want to have him on my fantasy team these next couple weeks. Rashid Shaheed, even, I really wouldn't want, even though he is capable of taking an 80-yard touchdown pass. I don't really want him because you still have so much unknown with Spencer Rattler. Kamara, maybe, because he should have a increased workload just in the running game, not even necessarily the passing game. But the Buccaneers, a capable defensive line. The Buccaneers, they started off the season pretty well. They kind of came back down to reality a little bit. But yeah, you look at them, they beat the Commanders, they beat the Lions. Now that was a big one. Then they lost to the Broncos in weird fashion. They beat the Eagles, and then they lost to the Falcons. Really weird season so far for Tampa Bay. On paper, they seem to be the better team. Saints, obviously, we know how great of a season start they had. I don't think that's going to be the case anymore. Spencer Rattler, it's going to be rough the first game. I think the Buccaneers are going to get after it. I got 7 confidence points on them to win. Browns versus the Eagles. The Browns are one of the worst teams I've ever laid eyes on. They are terrible. Deshaun Watson as a QB right now is terrible. They need to just give up and go to Jameis Winston. That's simple. They need to give up and go to Jameis Winston. I saw one play where it was a 4th and short, a 4th and 1, and they wanted to go for it. Deshaun Watson just walks off the field. Walked off the field. And they didn't want to use their timeout, obviously. So they had to take the penalty, and they had to give the ball away on 4th and 6 instead of 4th and 1. Deshaun Watson is not engaged with this team. Deshaun Watson has a lot of problems off the field. Why? Why do they feel this commitment to Deshaun Watson? Nobody owes anything to Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson is in the position he is in because of Deshaun Watson. He doesn't like being on the Browns. Well, guess what? You could have had a much better scenario if you didn't do what you did. But you didn't have much of a market. Jameis Winston needs to be the guy going forward for the Browns. Until they make that decision, I will not be picking the Browns to win a single game. I think they're terrible. Amari Cooper is being wasted there. He's being wasted. David Njoku, when healthy, is being wasted there. The guys on the defense, Denzel Ward, being wasted there. The Browns right now feel like the Browns of old. They are not good. They have the Browns are going to make a little bit of noise. That's not this Browns team. That's not this Browns team with this quarterback. It's not. They need to move on from Deshaun Watson. They need to move on from him quickly. Let him sit on the bench. I don't care how much you're paying him. Deshaun Watson does not care about playing football for your team, and you should not feel any guilt benching him. Not a single ounce of guilt should be felt benching Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson put himself in the situation where he goes from a Texans team that looks like they might be doing something. He has a major mess up in his personal life. Trade value goes down. Not many people are wanting him anymore. He ends up going to the Browns. He doesn't feel engaged on the Browns. Move on. Move on. Jameis Winston has been solid everywhere he's went. Move on from Deshaun Watson. Eagles are going to win this game. I got 14 confidence points on it. I don't care who's playing for the Eagles. I don't care if Saquon Barkley runs 50% of the snaps instead of 75. I don't care what happens. I don't think Jalen Hurts has been good this season, but I don't care what Jalen Hurts has done this season because that's how bad I think the Browns are. They are terrible. 14 points on the Eagles to win. Washington going up against Baltimore. I'm actually in the minority on this one. 98% of people agree with me, by the way, with the Eagles, 60% with the Buccaneers calls, and 97% with the Texans call. But I'm actually in the minority on this one. 18% of people agree with me. I'm going with the Commanders to upset the Ravens. The Ravens, solid team, right? Solid team, the Ravens. But I got 2 confidence points on Jaden Daniels and company getting the job done. I think this Commanders team right now is looking pretty solid. This Ravens team's been a little bumpy so far this season. It's had a little bumpy of a ride for them. So I'm going to ride with the Commanders to get the job done. 2 confidence points on them. They've looked pretty solid if you ask me. Another one I'm going to be in the minority on, but this one's a little bit closer. I think this might be the closest one of the week. 55% for the Chargers. I'm going for the 45% for the Broncos. The Broncos defense has been solid. The Chargers, we already know Justin Herbert's a little banged up coming in. Now, has he had time to heal? Maybe, but I know that they're banged up a little bit. The Broncos defense is pretty solid. The Broncos offense has started to come around. The Broncos are going to win this game. I'm fairly confident in it. I got 4 confidence points on the Broncos to win. If I could place more, I would, but I got a lot more confidence in some of these other games. But the Broncos, I think, are a pretty... I don't know why they're only 45% of people are taking them. I get the Chargers. Oh, the Chargers are this great team. They're not. They're not. Steelers, Raiders. 90% of people taking the Steelers. I'll be joining them with 5 confidence points. The Steelers, they didn't look horrible. They didn't look horrible on prime time. They almost won the game. Justin Fields, I expect to start this game. There was some news that Russell Wilson should be good, or at least to be the backup in this game. Not sure what the deal is with Russell Wilson, if he's going to take back over the spot. I don't know. But the Steelers are getting the job done. Justin Fields is getting the job done. The Steelers defense is getting the job done. The Raiders are walking into this game. Maybe Aiden O'Connell's starting. Something to monitor. They did bench Minshew late last week. So maybe Aiden O'Connell getting a start in this game. And then you're also factoring in that Davante Adams will not be playing more than likely because he requested out. So we're still waiting to see where he goes. So Steelers, they got a pretty easy week this week if you ask me. I got 5 confidence points on them. Another one I'm in the minority on, and this one's even more ridiculous in my opinion. 80% of people took the Lions over the Cowboys. 80%? The Cowboys aren't that bad. I get the Cowboys are a little overrated. But 80%? No. No, this Lions team hasn't been that good. They haven't. They haven't. And I know everybody loves the Lions and everybody wants to ride with the Lions and jump on the bandwagon. This Lions team has not been that great. They lost to the Buccaneers. They played close against a Rams team who hasn't been good. Granted, in that game they did have Puka for at least a couple drives. They had Cooper Kupp the whole game. Cardinals, I don't think are that great. Seahawks, they had a decent win against. This Lions team, they're solid. But to tell me 80% against the Cowboys, mind you, the Cowboys, they haven't been great either, right? A bad loss to the Saints. Played close against a Ravens team that's pretty solid. Beat the Giants, not pretty fashion. Beat the Steelers, not pretty fashion. This is an easier week for them than their last 2 weeks. This is an easier week offensively for the Cowboys to start to figure some things out. The corners do not concern me when it comes to the Lions. CD should have a bounce-back game. Tolbert has been very good lately. Maybe he has another really good game. Now, the part that concerns me is maybe the run game. I don't know if it gets going against the Lions. But 80% taking the Lions is ridiculous. I'm riding with the Cowboys. I'm putting a lot of confidence in them. I'm going to put 9 confidence points on CeeDee Lamb and the Cowboys to get the job done. 80% is ridiculous, man. It's ridiculous. Second highest of the week, Atlanta going up against the Panthers. I got 13 confidence points on Atlanta. The Panthers, we finally proved that Andy Dalton ain't that good, man. He ain't that good. Y'all are sitting here, oh, well, Andy Dalton's the hero. He ain't no hero. I don't know what you guys, I don't know what the big fuss was about. How do y'all not stop Andy Dalton and the Panthers? The Bears ain't had no problem doing it. Andy Dalton's decent. But, I mean, we're acting like he's going to come in and win the goddamn MVP. No. So, with that being said, I'm taking the Falcons to win. Drake London has been really good. We thought maybe he'd be in concussion protocol. Doesn't seem to be that way. But we'll ride with the Falcons to get the job done. Cincinnati going up against the Giants. Another decent game here. The Giants have been okay. They've had some good games. The Bengals have been very, very underwhelming. The Bengals need a game. They need a game. I got 12 confidence points on them to win it. They need to start winning. The Bengals are going to be in some serious problems if they do not start winning. So I'm riding with the Bengals. And lastly, we got the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills going up against the Jets. I got 11 confidence points on the Bills. The Jets' offense has been miserable. They're terrible. They suck. They're garbage. They're terrible. Breece Hall has not been involved the last few weeks. Hasn't really got going. Aaron Rodgers, ever since that big game a couple weeks ago, has not been good. Garrett Wilson's okay, I guess. Lazard's been involved. But the Jets' offense at times just stalls. And if they stall against a Bills team like this, they're going to have some problems. Now, do the Bills walk into this game with Khalil Shakur? I'm not sure. Maybe not. But I'm going to ride with the Bills to get the job done. Anyways, thank you for watching, and I will see you all next time.